I know it feels like we have just gone deep into a deep topic, like head first, but I felt it's important for us to have this conversation as well because it's the beginning of the year. This is the time we are planning our finances, our career, our investments. But in all that, especially those ones who have finished doing their plan for the year, have you included mental health anywhere? Be honest. So this conversation will actually lead us to getting to identify, are there areas in my life that I need to work on? Are there areas that need that inner work? I need to grow, I need to heal from wounds. And how is the best way to be able to do this? It's by understanding what exactly trauma is. I am sure while you were watching the video, you kept asking yourself, how does one heal? How does one heal? And I'm going to give you a few pointers that you can take into consideration to begin your healing journey. The first one is pray for God to open up your eyes to the wounds that you carry. The unrecognized wounds, the recognized wounds that are still unhealed. Ask Him to reveal to you the patterns that you have formed out of the trauma that you experienced. Ask Him to reveal to you some of the coping mechanisms that you formed based on these wounds. Because sometimes we are aware, like maybe you're someone who gets angry quickly, or you're someone who shuts down when things get tough. We know there are some of these things that we are aware of, some of the patterns or some of the habits, but we are also not aware to everything. We all have blind spots. So ask God to reveal that to you. The second thing is seek therapy. Just because you're a believer, that does not mean that you should not go for therapy. Just because you've prayed does not mean that you should not go for therapy. I would like us to look at it this way. When you're unwell, maybe you have a cold, or maybe you have diabetes, or maybe you do what? You go to hospital, you're given medication, and you take it while you're praying for that healing. So this is the very same way that we need to look at therapy and mental health. That the therapy is the medicine for this mental health issue that I have. So why don't I go and start taking that medicine while I am praying, so that you can start retraining yourself with the help of a professional. Retrain your patterns, retrain your thought patterns, retraining your habits, retraining how you view yourself. What lenses, them helping you to put on a different lens and start viewing yourself in a different way. Let me go back to the first point, by the way, I've just remembered something. Also ask God to reveal to you His original design of you. Who are you when you created you? What was His purpose for your life? What path does He want you to take? How does He want you to live your life? Ask God for all those things. So when we are praying for the revelation, praying for the healing, praying for the, just basically the strength to be able to go through this, let's combine it with therapy. Because God is the one who created that professional. God is the one who created the person with the mind to think. I think people going for therapy will help. So let's not dismiss therapy just because we are believers. Third thing, forgiveness. Forgiving others and forgiving yourself. Let us start with forgiving others. It is important to note that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness does not say that what the person did is right. No. Forgiveness is for you, because it helps you release that person, stop carrying that person in your heart. It helps you stop carrying bitterness. It helps you stop carrying resentment. It helps you be able to walk this healing journey with a clearer mind when you have let go of this baggage, when you have put down this baggage. I know forgiveness is really, really hard, especially when it comes to maybe like caregivers, maybe our parents, our uncles, aunties, teachers. It can be very hard because some of this trauma was ongoing and probably is still ongoing till today. But one thing, there's something that made it very easy for me to be able to forgive and let go, by me realizing that in the very same way that my habits, my character, my way of thinking were formed due to some exposure to certain things in my life is the very same way this caregiver of mine, that character was formed because they also had a caregiver. They also who had traumas. They also had their own experiences. They grew up in certain environments. So when you start looking at this person from the lenses of, this person behaves this way because, and maybe you might not know, you don't even have to know the situation. You don't need to fully understand them because right now the healing is for you. But when you are able to just say, imagine this was this person's lot, the issues that they went through is what has caused them to be the way they are today, and I will understand that. I will not rack my brain trying to think why they ended up that way. Let me just forgive and focus on my own healing. And then I also talked about forgiving yourself. There are things we've done, there are things we've said, we've treated people in certain ways, we've responded to life in certain ways because of these traumas. Some we know, some we are aware of, some we are not aware of. And it is important to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for how you talked to your child. Forgive yourself for how you talked to your sister. Forgive yourself for how you talked to your employee. Because sometimes it's so hard to go back to ask for that forgiveness. But just forgive yourself with the knowledge that these habits, these patterns, these reactions were formed from something, and now it is time for me to heal. Now I am aware, and it's time for me to heal. Third thing is, remember that this is a journey. Just because you've been able to identify that, oh, my temper comes from because it does not mean that now because you have the head knowledge that you will be able to easily apply it in life. In fact, even right now is when the enemy now will even bring for you all the challenges in the world. So kama wewe ni mtu wa hasira, that from the time you had that awareness, now that is the time. You're driving, someone is cutting you off. You're in the supermarket, I don't know what is happening. You're in the office, I don't know what is happening. The only way you can be able to break that pattern is by experiencing those experiences with the awareness of why you react the way you react. So you'll find that maybe before, if you used to get your temper goes off just at once, you'll find that maybe, I was able to hold for 5 minutes, and then after those 5 minutes, ililupuka. It is okay. Because you're trying to unlearn habits that you are unconsciously formed to learn new habits. And for you to do that, you have to build that muscle. And the only way to build that muscle is having those experiences so that now you know, let me learn how to breathe before I get angry. So that you know, this is how, to build and maintain boundaries. This is how to bring up my self-worth. If I find myself going down and starting to be like, oh, Mimi, I'm like this, I'm like that, at least now you'll be able to catch yourself and be like, no, this is not the truth. So what did we say that we are going to do if I start feeling the low self-worth? So remember, it is a journey and you have to be patient with yourself, extend yourself grace, and yes, what else can I say? Maybe share also with the right people, with the right and the safe people. Because sometimes we tend to share our lives with people who are not understanding, people who are not listening to us, and they end up either causing us more hurt, they end up making us shut down more. So share your journey with the right people, because sometimes it's important to have an accountability partner who will walk this healing journey with you. In closing, trauma may have shaped chapters of your life, but it does not get to name you. You are designed for wholeness, you are designed for connection, you are designed for peace. And it is very important to remember that healing is not weakness. Healing is obedience to the life you were meant to live. I'll repeat that again. Healing is not weakness. Healing is obedience to the life you were meant to live. And if you're watching this and you were already aware of traumas that you're living through, or now that you've been able to identify that there are traumas that you have been living through, I want to tell you that I see you. I see the strength it took to survive your trauma. I can only imagine the weight that you have carried all these years. I can imagine the weight of learning these patterns these toxic patterns just to stay alive. And I want to remind you that you're not broken. You are worthy of healing. You're worthy of a beautiful life. You are an awesome human being. And just because these things have shaped you till today, it does not disqualify your future in Christ. Because He sees your every wound, He has seen your every tear, He has seen your every pain, and He's not intimidated with this. He is calling us to invite Him into that space, to heal us, to make us whole. So invite Him into this space. Invite your therapist. Invite trusted people. Invite yourself, which is the most important, so that you can start this healing journey. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear from you on this topic. Comments, questions, share your experiences, whatever it is, they are more than welcome. I would love to hear from you, and we shall definitely see you in my next video. Mbarikiwe sana.